Hello, everybody.
Hi,
it's us
everyone.
again. We came back again this week. Ranelle is here. Mike Miles. I am here. She's Ranelle Wallace, although she only put Ranelle on there, so
sorry, guys.
She might be. Yeah, I'm sorry. She's just Ranelle today.
I would rather just be Ranelle anyway. You
Yeah.
know, I've actually thought about legally just changing my name to Ranelle.
Like
no last name.
Like Madonna?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, you'll be Ranelle?
Just Ranelle.
Okay. Well,
that's why my email is only Ranelle.
That is true.
Gmail.
Although we don't want to put that out there. Her email, everybody.
That's true, but that's my account for business anyway. So
true. That's a good point.
If you want to get a hold of me, that's where you can reach me.
I hope you saw the title of the show today. I think it's a great one. I'm excited to talk about it. It's What Are Angels? Yeah.
I actually have given it a lot of thought. My life may be uniquely a little different than most. How's that?
You think? Have you met you? Yeah, I've met you, and I completely agree. So anyway, what are angels and why do they matter to us? We discussed this and roles that these messengers play. And so there's
I actually had an experience happen this week that I want to share with you. And 2 days ago, actually. So I think it's relevant to what we're talking about. Very relevant, actually. So
someone says real quick, how can we email Ranelle?
Our audience, if anyone has had an experience with an angel, please post it below.
Yeah.
Subscribe and please put the word out that we're here on Sunday at 8 o'clock. Not always on time, depending on technical difficulties.
Yeah, that technical difficulties and also self, failings.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, by the way, my rash, we finally found out what was going on. At least we were able to match what's going on with my sores, and it literally, if anyone remembers the big spill in Louisiana that just really took over almost a huge part of the Gulf. And so they had to clean it up fast because there was a hurricane coming in. So they used acetone to break up the oil as a solvent. And so the people who did the cleanup in the original day have the sores that match identically to mine.
Yeah, and that makes sense because what was in those big barrels below the fire?
Yeah, acetone.
There it was. So
I don't know I don't know when I'll finally be rid of these.
Yeah.
Depending on how long. If anyone knows of some infrared, that seems to help a lot.
So, yes. And someone asked, how can we email Ranelle? She missed that part, or he.
It's only Ranelle.
We're actually going to put it here. So
yeah. Okay. Yep. Down in the comments down below. So Mike, let's start with you. What kind of experiences have you had in your past where you've had an angel intervene or where you've actually seen an angel?
Yeah. Let me finish writing this.
Oh, okay.
I'm just putting it here. There we go.
Okay. One thing that I can say that I have noticed is that music is so critical to the subconscious part of the brain on the left, and the right, mostly on the right, is where we our receptor site to music. And it's amazing that it can invoke angels into our presence. I wanted to share a story. Can I do that real quick?
Yeah, let's hear it. We are here for your stories. We love your stories.
Well, I wanted to share this one because it's so funny. When they used the original burn from the plane crash, by the way, I don't know if anyone saw this on the news last night, but there was a plane that hit a mobile home. Boy, those mobile homes seem to have a problem, don't they, with hurricanes and disasters.
And planes falling out the sky.
Right. And that's what happened. A plane hit a mobile home. Well, today, as I was looking at it, because there are very few left, I was absolutely shocked. It was a Beach Bonanza VTEL A35 or 36.
Which is the exact model that you flown for your crash.
And it hit me so hard because last night when I saw it, and saw the fire, it really triggered a lot, and I didn't know why. But that same night, I had this experience. I went to sleep because I was a little traumatized by the whole thing. And angels, which we can include, are oftentimes, our guardian angels could oftentimes be our own family members. And I had an incredible dream. My dad, which I have not seen him since he died. I think I had one experience after he died, but it's been many years, and he appeared in my dreams. And
that's wonderful.
And he said, Ranelle, I love you. You can do this.
Yes, you can.
So I was so deeply comforted. So oftentimes angels can be our family members.
I think that's, I think that primarily because they're the people that love you and want to look after you. You're their offspring or their parents. So
oftentimes, I don't know if anybody has seen, those new shows called What's in My Line or something like that. It's genealogy.
Yeah.
And they take celebrities that have genealogy, and every single time I've watched that show, an angel has intervened one way or another. And so something about that connection to our fathers and our grandmothers and our lineage seems to open the windows of heaven, as it were.
Yeah. I mean, and that is where the eternal perspective comes in. I mean, we're talking our family members from past to future are going to be with us as we go through our eternal lives. And so I believe that there's huge concern in a good way for us, and also that if we have for them, is also very, very good. So MG asks, what's the difference between angels, gods, and goddesses? Well, I'll say this.
You go ahead.
I will. The big difference is the level of light and the level of power and authority that comes with it. So being a god is being one of creation or of they're of a higher authority, and angels are beholden. They are essentially messengers for those gods. And so
I am
many
always,
times
I'm always in the belief that if an individual lives their life in the right way, and when I say right way, I mean live their life in a pure form, and have contributed back to their community or their family, they leave a legacy. And I think you can count on the idea that you are progressing along when your legacy outlives you after you die. And I think that's probably one of the most important steps that we take in our eternal progression. I think a lot of people think that we die and therefore we just exist.
Yeah.
With harps and the whole thing on the other side.
It's just eternal bliss forever. And I don't think that that's true. I think that we must progress forever.
We must. We are always progressing.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, exciting news. Ooh. For anybody who want to look this up, this is what is so profoundly wonderful. Talk about angels and light.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's the Webb telescope.
Oh, yes.
Did you hear about this?
Well, I haven't heard about what you're going to say specifically because I can't read the future, but I love seeing those pictures. It's amazing what they've
Oh,
seen.
it's profound, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
it really
where
is.
gods are born. If we are from a star seed, by the way, which I love science. I mean, my kids have excelled in the 1 percentile in the nation on science. So
she's not bragging, guys. That's just
no, not bragging.
She's just saying.
It's just saying that I think we were born that way, very adventurous. Yeah. Speaking of genealogy, you know, I was born adventurous and born with, you know, that level of exploration and science.
Yeah.
And so the Webb telescope reached, sadly, trillions of light years away. They found a planet that has light coming from the surface, from buildings.
When did you see this?
This last week.
Okay, I missed that. I am absolutely going to look into this. I like it.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, that is wonderful. I deeply want to go research that and see, because I mean, the things
Isn't that wonderful?
Wonderful, very.
It goes along with the idea that we do progress, and this is my personal look at this. And after a great deal of study, I have learned that I don't believe in reincarnation. You know, and I've known a lot of hypnotherapists that talk about reincarnation. And usually when you have an identity to the past, it's really, really funny, because on the most part, do you know how many percentages of people, you know, that are hypnotized? What character from the past is the one person they always believe they were in a past life? Which character in history? Especially for women.
Some the whatchamacallit, the Cleopatra.
Yes. Oh my goodness, you guessed it.
Yeah.
40% of hypnosis shows that people have experienced that they're Cleopatra. And so, you know, that goes along with my thought is, you're forgetting one important detail: incarnation, which means that we die, we progress, and somewhere trillions of light years away, hint, hint, we exist in another incarnation. This is the only one where we actually receive a physical body. But the other place is far, far, far away in a distant length. We are incarnating into another existence, not reincarnation.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can understand that in my mind. I have to research and see what I believe, but ultimately, I think, there's so much more, and it could even be in a different different reality, a different.
This one we get to do what I call the elevator to heaven. And if we do the golden rule just on a basis, we are, you know, elevating our light and frequency. And as we do that, it grants us that ability to be angels on earth.
Because we are light.
Ultimately. We are light.
Yeah.
When our bodies die, our light form does, you know, go on. And different, this existence is the one where, like, we've talked about this before. If you ask a kid that's 8 years old, how would you like to go run outside and jump in a tree? How many kids would say yes?
I would say nowadays probably like 3%, because they all want to be on their computers and their mobile phones. But historically,
if you could take your mobile phone with you,
okay, yeah, then they would want to go to the tree. I would say like 80%.
Exactly. How many grown adults would do it?
Oh, yeah, not in your life.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we
then climbing no tree.
Right. our existence then, as we grow and progress in our lives, we start placing doubts and barriers and fears, and we lose that childlike learning.
Yeah, curiosity.
And curiosity, innovation, and if anything will be AI, is authenticity. And our spirits show up, and this is critical. When I had my near-death experience, I got to see every form of art. And what was so beautiful in the people who created it in music and art and in various forms, actually, and temples that I saw on the other side, the frequency of the work they do and light actually is more extended. Not only that, they also, their art is alive. In other words, when you look at a painting, the actual painting, What Dreams May Come, if anyone remembers that movie, and his wife is a painter, and he jumps into the painting when he dies to go find her. And it's literally living art. So everything comes alive with our creative forces. And it's critical that we do that, because it bears light and frequency, and AI can't do that either.
Imagination.
Yes.
The key, I think the thing that sets true life, true humanity and humans apart is imagination. And so it's something that that is given. It's creative. And so creating is part of our being. So
it's what we came here to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so back to the tree, when we can, explore the world in a way with innocence and exploration and imagination, because whatever we imagine in our minds is real. The brain does not know the difference between what is imagined and what is real. The only difference is discernment. And that's where we grow as we get older. The wisdom and the imagination is at a higher level, where we don't need to jump in that tree to know the joy of that experience. So we could imagine it in our minds right now, and it will be as though we lived it.
Yeah.
So be careful what you watch and what you listen to.
And what you think about.
What you think about, right? As a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah, that's true.
Powerful scripture.
Yep.
And so who we are, what we think, really forms our spiritual realm. It starts to grow in inheritance of that light and that frequency and that godlike behavior, those characteristics of who God is.
And that's what turns us back into, and that's why she's explaining all this, is into angels. Angels, right. And why it comes back to that. And,
why and it's critical to be our guardian angels. We hope that, and I hope, and I intend on nagging my granddaughter after I die. I'm going to haunt her.
I mean, it depends on who's still alive when I die, but I'm going to be,
truth, isn't it?
Huh?
Boy, that is the truth.
Yeah.
What a sad truth for most kids to grow up right now.
Yeah.
But good always outwins darkness. The light always pierces the darkness, doesn't it?
Yep, it does. And I look at it, and we can talk a lot about different types of angels or all of that, but honestly, I just want to get down to the main point of there are sometimes when they are sent with certain roles coming from
and assignments
and certain things that they must do, and they follow through with that, and they do it. You can see it throughout scripture where that's who appears to people usually is an angel as a guide. And that's not the only role that they have. They also are there for, I think that, like you explained, comfort, I think is a huge one. God does not leave us comfortless. That is not just
that, Mike. That's in the scriptures. It's very powerful.
Yeah, and it's not just talking about the Holy Ghost. It's talking about I mean it is, but it's also explaining that God does not want us to be without comfort. He wants us to have the joy that is possible, and also just we deal with crap all the time.
Oh, I
We
know,
do,
right?
and it's not easy. And so that idea, and that's my experience, is most of the time they have come to me in a role of comfort or of in some sort of growth in a moment of understanding.
Have
So
you had an angel experience, Mike?
I have. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it. I want to hear.
I'll tell you my most recent one, and these are usually
Mike's stories.
these
I love
Mike
it.
stories. Yes, these are usually pretty personal, right, for everybody. But
They
I
are.
will share this one. Is I went. It was after our show last week,
Oh,
and
really?
mm-hmm, and for some reason, I know this seems weird, but my wife always. My father passed away, and he was
Oh,
really
I
close
know.
with my wife because we lived with him for 7 years, and so they were really close, and they worked together in business and all of this.
I
So
love your dad. I
yeah,
love
me
him.
too. And anyway, they were really close. And after the show, uh, well, anyway, sometimes she would see anytime 11:11 would show up on the clock, she would look at it, and it would be during times where she remembered him or
Oh,
something
wow.
reminded her of him. So, I mean, this has happened hundreds of times, um, uh,
Wow.
and even more, but hundreds at least, which is crazy. Like
Wow.
it doesn't. And at first, I was like, "Yeah, okay." So it was 11:11, and you thought of him, okay. But it was times when I brought it up to her, and then we look at the clock, and it's 11:11 when we're talking about him.
Isn't that amazing? We draw. So numerology is critical when it even comes to the scriptures,
Yeah,
and how so God works in symbols, and part of that are codes, and in those codes are numerics. And so you are absolutely right.
yeah.
I got 444 this week, over and over and over again. And
So
anyone knows what 444 is. It's really cool. I was
I'll have to explore. Well, I want to explore that with you later. So
okay.
yeah, at
Tell
some
me
point.
more. Tell me
Yeah.
more.
So anyway, the what happened was after last week's show, I go upstairs, and she had just had a conversation with our two daughters, and they were missing him terribly.
Oh,
And it was one of those moments where, you know,
oh,
you have a remembrance of somebody, and it just kicks in out of nowhere, and you start crying. Sometimes that just happens. And anyone that's experienced death of a really close loved one, they understand. But
oh
that
boy.
happened. And so when I came to bed, and I told her about the show and all of this, she explained to me what happened in out there, like with my daughters,
Oh
and she
wow.
was sad. And so we talked for maybe a minute, and then all of a sudden behind her, I see the four, and sometimes I can see a little, but I
Cool.
definitely felt it. But I
Because of what
saw,
you prayed for, Mike.
yeah, yeah, I saw the silhouette, if you may, the outline of a person, and I knew instantly that it,
Was your dad?
yeah, that it was my dad. I just knew,
Wow.
which was crazy. And then I looked down at my phone, and it's 11:11,
Whoa.
because I felt, as I knew it was him. Wait, what time is it? That's the next thing that popped in my head. Is this?
Whoa.
I realized that it seems weird with the number thing, but
It does, but it's if you look at it, so the Fibonacci code is eternal, right?
yeah,
The numbers never end. So yes, numbers play a critical importance in how our computer and our brain operates.
yeah. So I mean, I just It was a huge deal. I
Wow.
saw that, and it was something that touched my soul. And that's not the first and only time that I've experienced something similar, but this time it was personal in a way that connected my wife and I, and it was wonderful, and it brought comfort to both of us, and a little tear, yeah, but it was comfort nonetheless.
How wonderful it would be to have a partner. And this is, like I said, I love your relationship with your wife. I've always adored it.
She is great.
Yeah, there's this union that you two have, that you can be vulnerable and share your spiritual experiences. And it's equal part, is equally yoked.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful when you can have that kind of divine union.
I agree. And I've been very blessed that way. So
That's so
I'm grateful.
Beautiful.
I mean, it's not like things are perfect, you know, there's fights. But
well, sure, but that's how we grow, right?
It is. We have to resolve, and we have to work it out and still choose, because it's a choice to love each other, and it has to be both of us. And so it's
a learning experience for both, you know.
It is, and we've both come a long way towards each other in our lives. You know, it'll be 20 years this year.
Wow, 20 years. Yeah. How cool.
I got to plan something. I got to do something, you know, take her to some place that will wow her or something. I don't know. If you have any ideas out there, people, you tell me, because I have no idea.
Oh, I have tons. I have tons. So I'm a romantic at heart. So
MG asked, does the divine union continue on the other side?
Absolutely. More so.
I think that there are conditions in some scenarios when it comes to the eternal actual legal union of it, but I don't think the relationship will be severed in any way.
Not at all, because love is eternal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Love is eternal.
And so whenever we think of love, we think of bonding.
Yeah.
We think of, and it's not a codependent relationship. It's an interdependent relationship.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. It sounds a lot like codependence, but it's not. It's different.
It's interdependence. And when you have that union, that divine union of interdependence, that's when it becomes absolutely eternal. The little bell goes up, eternal.
Ring, ring.
Yeah. And that's where discernment comes in, is the next step that you and I had talked about, is how do you tell if it's an evil angel or a good angel? And the reason I say that, because, you know, in my near-death experience, one of the things I also learned is that when a baby is born, and that means all of us, we are assigned 2 guardian angels. And Satan being the great copycatter, and he's good at copycatting. All I have to do is say, Lori Vallow, talk about deception, right?
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to trust you.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Do you remember Chad and Lori Vallow?
Vallow or Daybell?
Daybell.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a couple I actually knew. Not real well, but I knew them. I've met them. I actually sat right next to Lori when she met him for the first time. And I got that. And this is where discernment comes in, is I got this instant heaviness, pressure, and darkness. So much so it made me sweat. I sweated profusely. I had to get up and move. So for me, I'm very sensitive to things like that, but that's the beginning of discernment. And every day we should be aware of it constantly.
Yeah. Especially when we're thinking and still hear me when my picture goes off? Yeah. Okay. You can. Yeah, especially when we're talking these kind of subjects. Now there is evil and dark, right? And it's not comfortable to talk about, but it's important to at least acknowledge.
I know I have a very difficult time actually, and
yeah.
So I said, Mike, you go.
We in no way invite that at all to put out there, and that's a plea to God that we don't have that, especially right now. But it is important to understand that not all of these types of experiences of even sight or of understanding from another being, if that happens, are from God. And if it's not from God, or at least the light there, it's not sanctioned by him. And so you need to kind of move
ratified.
On. Yeah. Ratified.
Because
that's a good way.
Ratified is, I think, a greater word for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Ratifies or not ratifies.
So we'll leave it. Yeah. We have a lot of experiences. I have a lot of experiences with darkness, not by my own choice, but they want us and they want to get us. So we just have to, we don't want to go down that road tonight, but just be aware.
It's okay though. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be really bold.
Okay, please.
And I am so glad that Elon Musk talked about this when it came to AI. And he had so many huge, red alarm bells go off in a big way about AI. Because one of their robots, the researcher that was working with that robot had achieved what they call ascension.
Oh.
Ascension being.
Self-awareness?
Pardon?
Like self-awareness and
yes.
Yeah.
And when it had that, it was really sad. But that robot killed the researcher in the lab that was working with it at night.
Where'd you find that at?
Oh, wow. Go on the computer. You'll find it everywhere.
Huh.
And that was Elon's biggest alarm bell is, we have to be careful of AI because I'm sorry, but there comes a lot of darkness with AI. Don't remember, Satan is the greatest copycatter. And robots have that ability to do that.
And we're not going to be able to avoid AI completely. It's going to be part of, like, it's much like the internet was, how it was introduced, but that introduced in to people's home pornography and many other of the most evil things you can think of. But we've had to find ways to live amongst that and use it for good, at least. Not that AI will be used. I don't know. But there could be things. I just want to put that out that we're not going to be able to just.
But I do love the AI on one light form of it, right?
Yeah.
In working in genealogy, it's amazing AI can do this.
Yep.
With your relatives.
Yeah, you just put it all. It can put things together faster than So the tool is amazing. It's just a matter of
fantastic, amazing.
Yeah, we just have to be aware that with technology and light and more knowledge comes greater responsibility. No, because
I know, and here's what's more frightening.
That's my Spider-Man nerd coming out.
Yeah, no, I think this is incredible, and you can talk about this, Mike. We're going to need to rely on angels like never before in our history because of, like you said, the internet brought. In fact, I'm old enough to remember the first log. Remember, computers came from our government. It was the United States government that, the internet was begun. But sadly, I remember when there was a catalog of www.com sites, and the majority of them, Mike, 60% was porn and prostitution.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a huge industry to say, but it's so much more. It's captured so many of us, so many souls, and it's hard to avoid. My generation was the first exposed in a large way as children, and so we grew up with that thing coming out. So I mean, it's important to understand who you are so that you can interact with things properly. And MG asks a question. I think evil spirits can use robotic bodies to obtain bodies to interact with the physical realm. That's what the question was. And I actually, I may have not agreed with it a year ago, but I'm actually more along the lines of that being a true thing. If they can inhabit pigs and they can go and be a part, if nothing else, they can interact with it, because I believe they can interact with electronics. They're beings that are also made of the same stuff we are.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that's I think that personally. This is not like doctrine or anything like that coming from anything official, but I believe that.
A new movie that Johnny Depp put out was about how a computer had ascended and recorded this scientist who believed he was a god and didn't believe in, a father and a mother.
Okay.
Right. And so Johnny Depp plays that lead role, and he's killed. And because they didn't want that kind of ascension, I hope I'm saying that right. Anyone out there can correct me. I'm not really computer savvy, but this computer kind of goes off after it records every bit of the scientist's consciousness. Mm. And by doing that right before he was killed, the computer was able to act on behalf of, the character who is the scientist, act on behalf of Johnny Depp, who was the lead character. And so much that it could grow parts, which we know it can. So much so that, the computer was able to build a lifelike human being and use that consciousness to recreate it.
Yeah, we're not too far off from something along those lines with our technology now.
Absolutely. Whatever happened to the Mike, you'll know this one. Whatever happened to when they do gene splicing and what do they call that?
CRISPR. CRISPR is what they use. Yeah, they use it. It's a technique to splice into the genes and change the genetic
code. But there's something I'm trying to remember what they call it here. Cloning.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm with you.
Wow, where did cloning go? We knew it was progressing. Suddenly now we don't hear about it at all.
Well,
why?
It's true. But I mean, when things start to become secretive, that things are starting to happen in the background. So
they actually had now, like I said, I love science. I was reading in a science article that they have been able now to take a lamb. You know how they talked about most clones die young?
Yeah, a while ago that was the case, yeah.
Yeah, now they can live longer than the normal lamb.
Yeah, I mean...
That's scary.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion.
I withhold my judgment on those technologies only because there's so many times that we have looked at new technology and been like, whoa.
Fearful.
Yes. And so I only withhold it in the sense that we need to be cautious and we need to be careful. But, some of the what I'm talking about with CRISPR and the gene editing scene, it has so much potential for good as well. And it's just a technology, just like other technologies that we've put together. Now, I don't have a stance yet, is my point.
Here's what's scary to me. You can find this on X. Elon Musk also came out with a new invention where they could put a chip in your brain, and just thinking something, it operates a phone inside your head.
Well, they did install for the first time in the last, I think the last week or two, they put the first one of the chips that he was making for the mind into a human. Now, it may have happened beforehand, but this is the first time it's been published and says that it's the first time. Technology can be used for good or evil, depending on if the person who wields it is good or evil. That is very true, MG. And that's why I withhold judgment on the technology, because it does depend on.
Well, let's remember, God takes every instance and turns it for good.
Yes, for them that believe and for them that follow.
Right.
Him. Yep.
Even the unbeliever, though, usually will have an experience. Like, do you remember when I talked about the man who he was a scientist, and he did the study of roses?
Oh, yeah.
And, didn't even believe in God. He was an atheist, and had heard me speak and so on. And he prayed for the first time in his life to know that God existed. And a bud that was very tight, which usually takes about 7 to 10 days to bloom, was sitting next to him, and he was recording the details of that bud. And when he looked back, it had opened to a perfectly beautiful open white rose.
No, I completely. That's amazing. I will say he does continue to care and search and reach out to all of his children, all of his love. And
he's a father.
just why, and back to the angels, that's why he sends them and has them among us, and why he uses familiar people that we know to comfort, because we understand and feel that comfort from somebody that we know. It's home. It's the feeling of home, essentially, to a degree, sometimes. So, like, he does continue to reach after his children. But if it comes down to, I was going somewhere with this, Ranelle.
Well, we were talking about the idea of, ascension and angels, right? And you were talking about how, how to tell the difference.
All things turn for your good, for them that believe, is what it says. And now everyone will believe at some point in the end, because you'll see and experience.
Every knee will bow.
Yeah. And so everyone already has benefit from the Savior, and from that, regardless. There's benefit there. There's also connection and the ability to have light to begin with, after all that's happened to us in our lives, is miraculous.
And Jesus is part of the Godhead.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the difference between an angel and a God.
Yeah.
And there clearly is a difference. It's a matter of ascended beings.
Yeah.
Our growth. And this mortality is, like I said, like an elevator. This is where we have a body to be able to, and our knowledge from our prior life is taken away from us. Why?
Yeah.
Because
it's a great question I've thought a lot about.
And what have you concluded? Because I was told this, but
I think two things. First, protection, because we have to. The more we understand and the more that we know, the more that we will be held accountable to the sins of the flesh, and so that is a big part of it, I believe. And then to allow us that innocence to be able to experience all of this without having the crazy baggage that comes from before. Now,
right?
baggage, because a third of our brothers and sisters chose not to come. And that, regardless of who you are, you knew somebody and it would have hurt.
Oh, painful.
So those types of things. And then those are things I've thought about. And then, yeah. And then the growth part, I think that us having genuine innocence, it was key for us to have time to be able to grow in these bodies and learn these brand new bodies. I mean, how horrible would it be to have a full grown adult in a baby's body?
Right. You can't do it.
Yeah. You'd be flopping around trying to talk and looking like a crazy thing.
Now, here's something that I also, speaking of angels, and knowing the difference, right, between discerning about angels of light and darkness. We are the only species that, where when a infant is born, it cannot walk. So it's literally premature. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, we're not mature enough to. Yeah.
Because everything is celestial except us. We can't become such. And it's just about remembering and working toward, like I said, the basics of love and the golden rule. We can ascend much faster than we can the darkness. We cannot grow. It's actually chaos. It's destruction.
Chaos and damnation. Damnation not being what people might think of damnation.
And what's damnation?
Being stuck, being in a place of sameness.
Okay, so if you think about a dam, a regular dam, that holds back water, that's what happens to our spirit. We're held back.
Yeah.
We're held back from all the beautiful blessings of heaven.
Usually because of pride, stubbornness, greed, and all of the big sins.
Like you said, I think that was a beautiful, beautiful statement, Mike.
So I would like, let me summarize this answer of who are the angels and why do they matter? They are us ascended. They are us, people that we've known and people that we've interacted with, whether it's in this life or the life before this. We know them, and that's why it's somewhat effective without even being able to see them. And that's common. You're not always going to see, and most of the time, I would say you're not going to see the benefit. But I think we will be surprised how much it affected us and how much angels being near us bore us up and helped us and came to us in times of need and also helped us understand things that we didn't before. So, I mean, I think the list goes on and on of things that they do to help and serve us. And because they care, they are those that we know and love, and they love us. And
what a beautiful statement. They love us, you know.
And they are us.
And darkness.
I mean, not yet, but yeah.
Like with the Daybell case, they believed they were gods. And because they were gods, they could take life as they chose. How sad is that? I think when you break the most critical egregious sins are sins of the flesh, like you said.
Yeah.
Lust, power. You know, power is a biggie.
And it's all dealing with other people's agency, usually. It's the biggest, or your own too.
It takes away from agency.
Yeah. And murder would do just that.
I mean, I'm not going to say who, but there's a certain elected official that misused their power completely. And honestly, it's so hard to handle power. and I'm going to say that slowly, it is hard to handle power. Angels can handle power.
Because they have been, the word, I forgot the word you used, but they've been stamped with approval.
Ratified.
Thank you.
By
God. And that is what's called in the scriptures a just man made perfect.
I love this. Now, somebody said that it might be CGI. There, look on the internet. There is this, and look.
I try not to look on the internet.
Oh, I know. Me too. I don't take my phone, and Mike can testify of this.
Yeah, I can't ever get a hold of her
because I don't use my phone.
Yeah,
I'm an old-fashioned person and believing.
Old-fashioned lady, guys. That's what she is.
So I just don't believe it. You know, if you look at people, you know, who hold power, do they carry their phone everywhere they go?
I mean, almost everyone does, whether they hold power or not.
But most people don't. Who are have learned to master. And so this is the next thing I wanted to say is the difference between a God and an angel is the level of which they can master their emotions. So for me, I came back to master my emotions. That was the key reason, the key purpose for my coming back.
Well,
and the premortal spirit, and that's how you can tell the difference of levels of angels as well, is their level of emotional awareness, their emotional state, their emotion, whether it's mastered or not.
Yeah, and that does not mean that you withhold the emotion.
Right.
God himself is in scripture crying. Yeah. So, I mean, emotion is part of who we are. The angels will feel those emotions, and we all have them. But it's a matter of I lost it again, Ranelle. What's happening?
Well, I will say this, that we were talking about souls and spirit and the level of which we emotionally grow in this life.
We will
mastering our emotions. One of the other key components for mastering emotions and wisdom is recognizing God's hand in all things. When we can start mastering that, this is also something that came out this last week, was we have been lied to, and it was thrown at us about the difference between adaptation and what's the word I'm trying to think, that we came from a monkey.
Evolution.
So adaptation is a truism. It absolutely is. We adapt. Humans are the greatest at adaptation, and we truly have to rely on angels to help us with that. That adaptation. But when we go to that level of we came from monkeys and evolution, that is the great deceiver, is evolution. Anyway, this last week, it was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that we were fed as children tons of lies about science. Because
just look at the food pyramid.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the food pyramid.
Yeah, let's not talk about the food pyramid, but everyone knows what I'm talking about. That was a crazy dummy. So let me.
Well, there's another one, but I will get banned for it. But I'll just say 19.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Biggest lie. You know,
I was 19 once.
The stabber. There's a lot of lies with the stabber. You know, I like Dog Daddy
on both sides. Let me be honest, on both. It became political, which it shouldn't have, but it was a smorgasbord of information, and it shouldn't have been that way.
Right. But the thing is now we can, the reality is for thousands of years, even in other tribes in distant places, like, as far the Inuit, to the Hopi Native American, all knew that we had a heavenly mother and a heavenly father. And that heavenly mother watches over the earth. That's why we call her Mother Earth. And Father watches over the human soul. And,
our light.
Yes, our level of light and growth, like a dad should do, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Because a son or a daughter, when a father is in that proper place in a child's life, has a greater gift to grow in innocence.
That's true. Because we have an innate feeling of we need to protect, and also
it's the way
prepare.
That men teach.
Yeah, it is.
It's so there are subjects, mothers nurture, right? Yeah. That's the big thing, is nurture and comfort.
They're home, man. I'll tell you, they are home.
I mean, one of the most
home in this world.
Right?
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful angel stories, I think, is always when it comes to the birth of a child. There is no greater sacredness and joy and light than watching a child be born, because angels are always exiting.
Yeah. I've experienced with those dying that happened. Angie asks, so can an angel become a god or goddess if he or she advances spiritually enough? Now, there does, I agree. Now,
I think we have to progress. We have to progress.
And I will give an example of this, because there's been misconceptions out there, because there is a final destination when it comes to glories and things like that we can talk about. But
let's just talk about Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He was the ultimate example of ascending beyond this life, resurrection, coming back and occupying the body that was given to him. And he said, and he kept repeating this to his disciples, you can do that thing which I do.
Yeah.
Everyone has that ability. And remember, what was it, Paul, who walked on water?
No, it was Peter. Yeah.
Peter, where Peter was asked to get out of the boat and walk to the Savior.
Yeah.
On water, and he did. In the moment that he had a doubt, what happened?
Yep.
He sunk.
He did.
So there's the difference between doubt and discernment. You can't doubt. So there's no such thing as coincidence. And I kept saying that after my near-death experience. As soon as you can watch the hand of the Lord in your life, you're ascending, you're growing. You are becoming like God. And who is a part of the Godhead but Jesus Christ? So he says, that which I do, you can as well. And we can do everything in our power before this life, in this life, to become a God. That's part of progression.
Yeah. And no one will become a god of this world, by the way. Like, that's set. So I want to point out that who we worship is just the one.
Just one.
Yeah. Just the one. And so I do want to point that out. But to kind of put more God the Father, the Son. Think of angel. Now, those of you that are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will know what I'm talking about. Angel Moroni, standing on top. You think he can progress? Or is he just an angel? Those that pass on and come back to give the messages, Peter, James, and John, all three of them showed up to give the priesthood.
And John the Beloved, he's still wandering the earth.
He is. Yep. So I mean, it is it is misconception that once an angel, always an angel. But they're, you know, what happens after the end of this world and the end of not just the world, but the earth, when we move on to another life, like completely in thousands of years, we may not know exactly how that works, or we may have some indications.
Well, and that's the key, though, is we need to learn that. And there is no greater gift you can give yourself than understanding the birth and death of life, of a human life. When you can fully understand, fully have complete knowledge, that changes the dynamics. Like we were talking about, there is no coincidence. So if there's no coincidence, what is it? And for instance, we were laughing or at least I did. I laughed. I thought it was funny. When we started the show, when Mike and I saw each other, you can look and see we're both wearing the same shirt.
Oh, yes. It's so beautiful.
But what color is this? What does it represent?
Blue is, I don't know. Purple is royalty, but blue is, I don't know. Why can't I think of it right now? That's weird. Normally
it's the sky. When we
Yeah.
look at water in the sky, it's the reflection of light.
Okay.
So the sun always reflects light. And so when it reflects and it bounces off the earth into the atmosphere, it becomes blue.
Mm-hmm.
Levels, I hate using the term chakras, because, it's not one, level of light like they show on a chart, because it's always changing.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty, is understanding that process of light. Yeah. And frequency, and how often, even in a day, we can see auras. It could be purple, it could be blue, it could be golden.
And there's a time and a place for all things. So it's not get to the highest level and stay there. There's a time for peace. There's a time for war. There's a time for kindness, a time for anger. So these things come upon us, and we have to learn to, master them and adapt, but also be able to express them and feel them. That's partly why we're here, is to feel those things. And then, so we move.
That's emotion. Emotion, meaning emotion, putting something in motion, it's progressing.
Yeah. And
you see, so we're always in a state of emotion. If we're not, then we're not growing.
Yeah.
Because emotion is about putting something into motion. Emotion.
So being in control is not controlling. We don't control our emotions. Being in control is being able to choose what is right and what is God's will in any of those emotional states.
I love that. So, that video where they teach you, or that poem, The Master's Hand.
Oh, yeah. Touch of the Master's hand with the violin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fiddle. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about, the ultimate master is Christ.
Yes.
And he mastered what? He turned emotion into music.
Yeah.
And frequency and sound and
life.
And life, big time.
Yeah.
It's about recreating, the things that we know within ourselves that we remember, like through art.
Yeah.
A lot of people master emotions in all various forms. It could be in Taekwondo, One of the things that I love is, one of my favorite shows is America's Got Talent.
Yeah, some of those people be crazy.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
But you know what's so beautiful? There is a woman who is right now on the show, competing for a second time because she didn't win, is the woman who was the voice for the song, you know, what's it called? The Greatest Show on Earth.
The Greatest Showman?
The Greatest Showman, that's it.
Okay.
So listen to her sing. You can't help but get chills.
Was she the hairy one?
Yes, with the hair like this.
Yes. Well, I mean, she also had a beard, but I.
Oh, not that one.
Not that one?
No.
Okay. Well, you have a problem with a woman with the beard?
Yeah, just a bit.
Hey, whatever. You just close-minded.
I'm not closed-minded.
No, I know you're not closed-minded. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was improper of me to say.
No, it's okay. We know you're joking.
Good.
But if you see her, and I don't remember her name, but when she sings that song, and nobody knew she was the voice behind the person for the Greatest Showman.
Okay.
When she sang that song for the actor, nobody knew who it was. And it wasn't until America's Got Talent she was able to demonstrate that talent.
Oh, I have to go back and watch some of that.
Oh, yeah. Go listen to that song. You can't help it.
Beauty is more important than I would say most men believe. We have a tendency, and that's some women too, don't get me wrong, but most men,
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, most men are not very they don't seek to make beautiful things. They're more practical a lot of the time. I don't. And
You're
so
right. And women beautify their homes, don't
exactly. And so I walk into a room, and my wife will look around, and she'll be, honey, we need to change these things. And I'm like, what? This looks great. But she's like, no, it's beautiful. We want to change something. Why do you hate why do you like ugly things? And I'm like, because she said this to me within the past 2 weeks. So I'm like, I like beautiful things. Anyway.
No, you just like comfortable and practical. But I'll tell you what a man loves. And so this is the difference between a man and a woman, Venus and Mars, right?
There are a few differences, but let's hear this one.
Well, the difference is, why do we call men Mars and why do we call women Venus? Great book, by the way.
I don't know what the book says,
Venus.
But
well, what is it? What does it represent? Why do they choose men to be Mars?
Because Mars is representative of war and of arid blood. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's arid, and it's arid. What does Mars look like, right?
Yeah.
And what is Venus?
A pressure cooker of chemicals that will destroy anything that enters the atmosphere.
Great. Not where I was going with this, Mike.
I'm sorry, but
is that what you're thinking about women? Great, Mike.
No, I'm just putting it out there. I just thought it was kind of funny. Just drawing some blood like Mars.
Mike, we see usually Venus as love.
Yeah.
Venus is the goddess of love.
It's true.
So women create a loving atmosphere.
They do. And
men love coming back home because women have this they call it the woman's touch.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we have Mother Earth, because God gave Mother Earth the ability to beautify it.
Yeah. So I look at it. I mean, yeah, in that conversation with my wife,
yeah, by the way,
I didn't see what,
but it's important. You need that balance. See, it's yin, it's yang.
And she looked at it and saw something beautiful that wasn't there, and then made that into existence. And I loved it once I saw it, but as she was, I would have never thought to do something about that. So I greatly appreciate my wife and the women of my life. So anyway, I want to say
yes, because your mother is an amazing woman.
She is.
She is a woman of light, boy.
She is wonderful.
How many sons did she give birth to?
5. No girls.
No girls.
She was alone in the house with a bunch of boys. Try beautifying that.
No kidding, but she did it, didn't she?
I guess so, because I think I'm beautiful.
Yeah, she taught. What I love about your mom,
I don't think so.
She understood a woman's role and how it plays in men's lives.
Yeah.
And so in that, she taught you guys how to recognize that in your life.
Absolutely. I am eternally grateful for that, because I was able to find someone that was what I needed.
Exactly what you needed, right?
And what she needed too. It was the opposite for me.
Wow.
So
how beautiful is that?
I think it is beautiful. And hopefully it stays beautiful forever.
Now, see, I believe that the Holy Ghost or angels bring us to our companion.
There
is no coincidence in that.
No.
I believe that if you pray, I don't believe in predestiny.
Yeah.
To some, element, there is a truism. But I do believe that God ratifies the right companion for your need.
Yeah. I agree.
And the angels will help us, the unborn angels. So there's a level, we were talking about the different levels of angels. There's the unborn as well.
Yeah. The ones that haven't come, that are still our friends and our family that we love, and they love us, and they remember.
Yes, they do.
And I've had experiences with them where I felt a kinship to a group,
to that brother. I've seen it in your family. By the way, I was a coach for this family, and that's how Mike and I met, for the Miles family, and coached them as a union, as a team.
Yeah.
And things radically changed when you can teach that certain understanding and bonding. So anyone who would like that, leave it down below. You can leave a message and I'll return your call.
It honestly did change the dynamic of my family. It changed, most of all, me, and my interactions with my family, but also my dad, drastically, and the interactions that all of us had. Now, there was different levels of acceptance and going in and out of it. But I don't think any of us look back and regret what we did and how it was.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
There was something so gorgeous and sacred about having you all sit in a circle.
Yeah, there was a connection that went well beyond the life that we've lived here. And so that, being able to understand, we're not going to remember everything, nor should we. I don't want to, but I do know that it was there, and that it's something that affects us every day here in this world, because they're still there. They're still there looking after us with the same urgency as they did when we were together before we came.
Yeah. And here's the other thing that you can tell, the discernment between a dark angel and a light angel. You were talking about time and Cleopatra, remember? And there is something beautiful when we say eternity. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then we say something called time. There's a different feeling, isn't there?
Yeah. Limited.
Yeah.
Right. Time brings stress to most people.
Mostly me.
So MG asks, when you say the angels are born, do you mean they are born to this world, or are they born on the other side, or both?
Okay, so that's a good question. So to give you an example, anyone that has seen my son right now, I will say this. I did not want to come back. There is absolutely no way.
From her near-death experience, if
right.
anyone
I
wasn't
wanted to stay on the other side because the love was so overwhelming, and talk about ratifying and comforting and peaceful and all those beautiful feelings. And I felt I was being constantly bathed in it. It was a constant eternal bath of joy. And I did not want to come back to darkness. And finally, when I had said, no, I'm not going back, I told my grandmother, because she wanted me to start.
Her guide was her grandmother.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking of angels, my grandmother was my angel guide. And so quickly she waved her hand and had me see, and it's a choice to see, right? She moved her hand, and a young man was coming toward me, and I didn't recognize him until he got really close and he started to cry. Because remember, premortal spirits have raw emotions, so they don't have great control of their emotions, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah. And so it's not control, immature emotions, right? So there's a difference between going back to innocence or going back to a limitation of emotions. That's why we came here to get a body, is to extend those emotions, to master them and go greater than what we knew before.
To use them instead of be controlled by them.
Exactly. So this young man was crying, and when he started to cry, I immediately recognized him. It was my son. And I immediately said, oh, don't cry, Nathaniel. Nathaniel? How did I know his name?
You didn't have a Nathaniel.
Yeah. Son.
Not yet.
Wait a minute. I was fine with 2 kids. No more.
How many more kids did you end up having?
2 more.
Yes, you did.
In a body that was absolutely a miracle. Because they said I had cervical cancer, that they had to remove a lot of it. And they just said it was absolutely impossible to have a child. And I had 2.
And you showed them.
Right?
By going through crazy amounts of pain.
Because of this experience.
Yeah.
Is Nathaniel. He says, Mom, I need you. I need you. And I said, oh, no, you don't need me. You can find another mother, I promise. See, I was trying to get out of this because I knew where it was going. And he said, no, Mom, I can have another mother, but no one fits my needs greater than you. You are a perfect fit for me. And, the emotions were so sweet and precious that I wiped his tear away. And I put my arms around him and I said, Nathaniel, okay, I will give you that opportunity. I will give you life. And it was right then that I promised my son he could come to this world. And so I knew I had to go back. It wasn't a choice. After that,
the choice. But for you, you made the choice.
In that instant, it changed everything.
Yeah.
It changed my eternal perspective. It changed my eternal destiny. And I can hear him laughing in the next room. Believe it or not, after having 2 kids, I finally had that son. And right now he looks exactly at the age he did when I saw him in his premortal spirit. The only difference was the level of innocence and light has changed with maturity.
And MG, I hope that gives a picture of kind of what we're talking about. But
about
I mean,
when spirits.
Yeah. And the premortal spirits that I was referring to myself are ones that I don't know if they'll be in my family or not. I just felt them, that I knew them, and that they were from before.
Right.
Sometimes you just know things when you're feeling and having these experiences. There's a level of knowing that comes.
Right.
He asks, so baby spirits are born to spirit mothers and fathers on the other side before being born here. He was your son born to you in heaven before he was born to this world.
Right. But because of my desires, it was going to change destiny, wasn't it?
There was one thing. It's not so much that it was she was mother in heaven there for him. He had a different mother in heaven. There's a different mother in heaven, right? Or we don't need to go into that completely. But
I think we need to just do baby steps at this point.
Yeah, but he says that at least she was mother here. Maybe not mother to the spirit. Most aren't when they're born. They're born to a heavenly mother and then to a worldly mother.
It changes us when we become a mother or a father. Some of us, a lot of us who, because of the world we're born in today, can't have children. Mm-hmm. But they find other avenues, like being a teacher to children, or
adoption. My wife was adopted.
Yeah. Or a niece or a nephew, where they learn, it's adapted for our mission. And you learn how to be a mother and father. That's what we came here to do.
Yeah.
Procreate. Like, let's do human team, like Elon Musk says. It's important to have children right now.
Yeah.
Do everything you can to have children.
I recommend it, whatever form that looks like, because it's changed who I am, not just what I think, but who I am. And my interests have changed because I care so much for these children. And that's not the experience of every mother and father, but it's generally the case. And I highly recommend it, unless you don't want to work. If you don't want to work, or you want to always, not have to deal with poopy diapers, those things happen. But
growth and
growth is really
watching young boys grow, sure. And especially young girls. The difference between little girls and little boys is the squealing.
Who squeals?
Isn't it true?
Yeah, as teenagers, but as kids, my boys have been belters compared to the girls.
Wow. I don't know, get two little girls together and somehow they know how to do it.
Oh, that's funny.
It's beautiful though, because we learn how to make music out of all of that.
Oh yeah. I like it. Music,
it's like a choir. Music to my ears.
I hope everybody
to my ears.
Yeah, I hope everybody can understand kind of where we're coming from here. These are based on our experiences, based on what we understand and where we're at. We're not perfect, right? We don't know. We're not special. We just try to observe and understand the world around us like anyone.
Right. Like
so
anyone else.
Very curious. We're curious.
I'm grateful God gave me a little bit more ability to see and hear. It's hard.
Yeah.
Because you have to see the light to see the darkness, so it's equally portioned.
Yeah. And I don't have the same gifts as you, but I do. Some things have developed in my life over time.
Oh, laughter. You make me laugh all the time. You have a gift to bring laughter into my life.
Well, at least your life. Don't ask my wife. I don't always make her laugh. Although she does laugh at me. And that's important, because if she didn't, I probably would feel very sad for myself.
And she takes care of you and nurtures you. And she's just the most beautiful mother and wife.
I agree.
So back to coincidence, and there is no coincidence in this life. I would love to meet each and every one of you at some point. Leave your contact below. Get the word out.
Send her an email. I sent your leave a comment below, not with your personal information.
Yes, just first name. First name, one name, like I want to go with just Ranelle.
Yeah.
But here's the beauty of it is my grandmother said to me, anytime you connect to someone's eyes for more than 3 seconds, and you can look longer than 3 seconds, there's an eternal connection. There's an eternal bond that happens.
So I've done this once before on the show, but
yes.
Look me
in the had an assignment.
3 seconds.
But there's no coincidence. That's why we're wearing the same shirts. There's no coincidence that you're listening right now. So please grow our channel. Please go out and have spread the word for us. We need a grassroots campaign. We need more people to come to Truth and Light, especially right now. Yeah. We need angels more than ever. We're in the midst of World War III right now. People aren't aware of it, but we are. And it came with Israel and Hamas. Yeah. The Middle East and the beginning of our involvement with it, and the Ukraine. There is some incredible scriptural, biblical events. Yeah. So eternity is moving from moment to moment, experience to experience. I hope with all my heart that you have felt something today.
Me too.
And have experienced something very sacred, to remember angels, to remember who they are in our lives. There are angels that occupy, bodies. Mike and his wife have always been my angel. My gosh, they have. More than any two people in a very long time. And I feel that way about some of you who are listening. We need to grow this channel. So subscribe, please, below. When you subscribe, that gives me an ability to be eternally connected to you. So, if that sounds daunting, it really isn't. But that's one of those technological beauties is subscribe, like.
Yeah. Please. And leave comments too, because we do want to connect, and I respond to every single one. I haven't missed one. So
I know, isn't he incredible? That's why we're partners in this podcast, because I needed that male connecting. I'm not really good because, especially right now with these sores, it's affecting my thinking. What are you doing?
I was grabbing at you. I don't know. You were like saying that you were reaching across and communicating. I don't know.
Here we go. We'll do the God finger.
Although you're now pointing the other direction.
There we go.
Because it's not married.
There we go. So I'd like to do that with you.
Oh, that's sweet. Like E.T.
Yeah, and connect with you out there. Please grow this channel. Please, because then we have the ability to continue this work.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of benefits that can come from this, building a community like this, of just based on love and understanding that we are all so different and we have all suffered in some way, and love and support is important. And this is a way for us to do it, at least to try.
Yeah, because we're all going to face the one thing, death.
Yeah.
All of us.
We'll be there. All of us.
You can't.
And sometimes I wish to be, go first, and other times I don't want to, because I don't want to put other people through that pain. So I mean, it's hard to think about your own. But understanding that this is eternal and this is something that's going to continue, and that we are so much more, and I've said this before, so much more than what we seem, even though we are
faith, believe in things that aren't seen but are true.
Yeah.
We need you. So we have faith in you that you'll go out next week. And if you want to do meditation, Please also like and subscribe
Yes.
down below.
And leave a
that
comment too, so that we know that that's why you did it. If you want a meditation, she's amazing at meditation. There's one a couple weeks back you should go and listen to. It was awesome. So you'll see it. I put it in the title there, so you can see that it was a great meditation. It's not the one where she talks about the turtle, because that one was amazing too. But that was a different day. But this one was awesome. And so go take a look at that, and let us know if you want more, because she would love to do guided meditation on here, and we would love nothing more than to do that for you guys.
Because it parts the veil in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
It changes your life in a beautiful way.
Brings peace in a beautiful way.
Yes,
which
it does.
I think in this world, we can use a little peace.
Prayer and meditation.
Yeah.
One cannot be without the other. Right? So if we don't have meditation to think about things, then, who are we if we can't pray and we can't meditate? We don't have that connection.
We're robots.
Right. We're just acting out in this life without the spirit.
MG says a garden on the other side meditation would
that's right. The garden on the other side. Yes. Because that's the one that leads and guides you beyond the veil and helps you remember the garden.
So everybody, thank you for coming tonight. It was a wonderful night for us. For me, I loved it. Yes. And you guys have a wonderful evening.
I love
rest of the Sunday and a good week. We will see you next week. And
on the next Sabbath.